artists, I'm so glad you're back and ready to spend some studio time with me. Today we'll be making some incredible eggs. I have a couple examples to show you and I hope you like them. Here's my first little example and my second one. And of course, I couldn't leave out a little tiny egg with googly eyes. Isn't he so cute? So let's get started today. I'm working with half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of watercolor paper. You can actually use a whole page if you want, but I like this size because it gives you the result of an egg this scale. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide on a color palette for our eggs. We have warm colors here, which are yellow, orange, and red. Those are the colors of fire, and that's how we remember that they're warm. And we have the cool colors, purple, blue, and green, and those are the color of water, although I've never seen purple water, but purple is in that palette. So the first thing we're going to do is select a color palette that we like, and I think I'm gonna go with the cool colors to start. So what I'm gonna do first is dip my brush in the water and just wake up my cool colors. So I'll wake up the purple and the blue and the green. The first thing that we're going to do after we wake up our color palette is we're going to use what's called a wet on wet technique when we use our watercolor paints. And what that means is we're going to wet our paper and then apply wet paint on top of the water. The one thing that you want to remember when you're doing this though is that you don't flood your paper with water. If you flood your paper with water, you'll just have a big old mess. So you want to wet your paper just enough so it's damp, not flooded, and then we're going to apply the color on top of that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to start with half of my paper, and I'm not going to do the whole paper because that way the whole thing won't dry by the time I get back to the other side that I started on. You also want to make sure that you leave some white space, because when you're painting with watercolor, you can never get that white space back when you paint over it. Okay, so I don't know if you could see this a little bit where my paper is wet. I have some white space on there. This part is still dry because remember, we're only painting half to start with. Then I'm going to take my color. I'm going to really load up my brush with that color and apply that color right over where I have water. And as you can see, it's creating all these really cool designs on the page where the water is. You're just going to continue this method until you have your paper covered how you like it. Just dabbing along as we go. Another technique you can use instead of dabbing is the flicking method. If you load up your brush with color, put your finger out and tap, 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 you'll get little areas of dots. Just like that. Once your wet on wet painting is complete, before it dries, you want to take some salt and sprinkle it on top of the painting. This is kosher salt, which is a little bit more coarse than a normal table salt. However, you can use whatever salt you have in your cabinet, that's fine. So we're just going to take a little bit of a pinch, sprinkle it on, and I'm going to show you what the end result is going to be. When you put salt on your watercolor paints, it creates a little bit of a starburst kind of effect. I have a final dry piece over here that I want to show you that I applied salt to, and you can see in these areas where the salt was is put your wet on wet cool color painting with salt to the side. You can blow dry it if you want to speed up the process of drying, or you can just allow it to dry for a little while, and when the shiny water has disappeared, you know that your piece is completely dry, and you can actually just dust off your salt when that's finished. Okay, so let's move on to one other one. I'm gonna put that to the side to dry. I'm going to show you how to set up for an egg card. Okay, so this guy is just half of an 8.5 by 11 watercolor paper, and we just took that page and we folded it in half. So you're gonna fold it in half like that. And we're going to use our second color palette this time. And our second color palette is going to be the warm colors, which are yellow, orange, and red. And remember that they are the colors of fire, the colors of the sun. They're hot, they're warm. So that's a good way to remember that color palette. So we're going to, once again, wake up our colors. Okay, and remember, the next step after we wake up our colors is to apply water onto our paper, because this is the wet on wet technique that we're going to do again. We're going to do exactly what we just did, but we're going to do it with a different color palette. I'm going to open this up because this is my card and I don't want water to seep through to the other side and get all wet. So I'm just going to open that up. And on the right side is where I'm going to be doing my painting. So again, I'm going to paint with water. I can do the whole thing this time because it's a smaller sheet. We're only doing half of an 8.5 by 11, so it's really like a quarter. Just going to apply water. If your water is a little bit colored from the last time around, it's no big deal. Here's my dry piece that I had prepared ahead of time for you. And you can see again the starburst with the salt. If you like that effect, feel free to put the salt on. If you don't, this is your art. So do what makes you happy. Once your wet on wet paintings are all dry, this is the time that we're going to start turning them into our little eggs. So we're going to take our warm color project first, and you're going to fold it in half, just like that. And you're going to draw on an egg the best you can, okay? I don't want you to stress out about, oh, my egg's not perfect. Just do what you can do. Just do the best that you can do, okay? The most important thing that you remember when you're drawing this egg is that you need to make sure that you don't cut the spine of the paper here. We still need a hinge to keep our card together, see, like that. And if you cut that, then the egg will be separate. You won't have a card. You'll have just one egg. So that's really important to remember, that your spine is on the left side and you draw your egg around like so. Okay, can you see mine here? So I'm gonna show you how we're gonna cut it out at this point. Okay, you'll see that this side of the egg is flat because that's where the spine is of your card. That's what's gonna keep your card together. So remember, don't cut that piece off. You're gonna keep that there. Okay, now we're going to cut our larger egg out. So draw a large egg on there. Can you see my pencil drawing on there? The shape of my egg, okay? Do the best you can to make a shape of an egg. And we're going to cut that out as well. Now at this point, we've got some pretty incredible eggs so far. So if you like how they are, you can leave them, but we can further embellish them with line and with glitter glue, sequins, pom-poms, rhinestones, whatever kind of findings that you have at home that you like to decorate with, stickers, that's up to you, okay? So I'm gonna show you a couple techniques for decorating. One of the elements of art that comes into play really often when we see artwork is line. So our eggs, decorative eggs like our Pisanki eggs that we learned about, or Fabergé eggs, they all have line, and you can see the different types of line that I've demonstrated on this board for you. So we can decorate our egg using straight lines, hills, zigzags, scallops, dots, swirls, loops, or any other kind of line that you could create on your own. So I'm gonna leave this right here for you to see. Let's see, I'm gonna leave that here so you can refer to this. And we're going to take our blank eggs. We'll start with our little card, and you're just gonna go to town decorating your egg. Now, really also really important is I want you to have fun with pattern while you work on this, okay? Because pattern is one of the principles of design. So we can use line and repetition to create pattern. We can use pom-poms as we repeat them across on our egg in different colors to show pattern, okay? Or I have little sequins on the bottom here to show pattern as well. Green, gold, oops, or is that gold, green, gold, green, gold, green. We have repetition of zigzags. So I want you to have fun with the pattern of line and color and all of the embellishments that you use in your egg. So let's get started with decorating. When you start decorating your egg, you might feel more comfortable using a pencil first. I'm using a Sharpie marker, just going for it. So if you want to just go for it with a Sharpie. And if you feel more comfortable using a pencil to start because you can erase a mistake, then that's fine too. Whatever suits your fancy. I want you to also think about thickness of your lines. So make some of your lines thicker, make some of your lines thinner. It's nice to have some variety as well. So when you use variety, it makes your artwork a little bit more interesting. So we're really thinking about line, we're thinking about pattern, and we're thinking about variety in creating our egg. So here's an example of variety that I was talking about. Instead of our lines all having the same width, I'm switching it up by making a thicker line and then a thinner line, okay? While still having some sort of little pattern going on here. So the more interest that you create on your egg, the more interesting your piece of art will be in the end. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my card. I'm going to draw some lines, pattern, use some variety, and then we will embellish using our sequins, our glitter glue, and all of that. Now I want you to have fun embellishing your egg. So I have here some glitter glues, which are really fun to use. I have some sequins, which are always super awesome. And I do have some other findings in this crazy bin of stuff. Beads and little pom-poms. So just have fun adding little embellishments and to spice up your egg just a tad, if you feel like you want to do that. So I'm going to show you once again my finalized egg. Here you go, and my final card. And you can see where I embellished a little bit. Okay, and again, I used pattern for the embellishments. You could see the pattern for the pom-poms and the pattern for the sequins and the pattern I used in my little sticky rhinestones up here. And then I used a lot of glitter glue on this one. I wanted this egg to look more like a Fabergé egg, so I had fun with that one. And of course, you're gonna have a little bit of scrap left over. And as you can see, I took my scrap paper, and that's how I cut out my little egg guy here. So you can just use these extra little corners and you can make a family of little eggs, which is so cute, and add googly eyes on them with little smiles, and hopefully that will make you smile. I'm so glad you joined me today for Art Studio 5, and I hope that you'll subscribe, you'll push the ring bell notification button, and follow me on Instagram at artstudiofive. If you did this project, I would love if you tag me in it so I could see what your creations look like. Until next time, my friends, here's an Art Studio high five for you. Bye.